Welcome to Simply Ideal HQ. On this podcast, we engage thought leaders on topical issues around law and business in the most simplistic manner.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Simply by Ideal HQ. Today we'll be talking about the trending melting pot between technology and art. Non-fungible tokens have become a global phenomenon that have been driven primarily by creatives finding expression of their works outside of the traditional platforms. Today on the show, I have the rare privilege of speaking with Mr. Ferdinand Adimefe, a creative entrepreneur and co-founder of Artistry, the first indigenous NFT marketplace which launched in May 2021. Mr. Ferdinand, thank you so much for joining me on Simply today. It's such an honor and privilege to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Grace. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be part of your conversation.
Yeah, glad to have you here. I recall that DHQ published an article on NFTs just about the time when Artistry was launched. That's this May. And it was impressive to see that Nigerian creatives were already positioning in the digital arts center stage. Well, as is our custom on Simply, can you please break down for our audience in a very simple way or very simple terms, what are NFTs and why has it become such a trend in the digital assets community?
All right, thank you very much, Grace. So NFTs are actually called non-fungible tokens. And it's that's where the N and FT comes from. So these are really simply digital assets. They represent a wide range of tangible and intangible objects. It could be a piece of art, it could be a piece of music material, it could be game assets, it could be videos, sports cards, it could even be virtual real estate and even digital sneakers. Like the spectrum of what constitutes digital assets constantly has been expanding. Most of them are now being bought and sold online, frequently with cryptocurrency. And that's the unique aspect of NFT. NFT is actually being powered by the blockchain, and it's part of the blockchain technology. So with every piece of NFT, they are actually authenticated, verifiable, and they're actually traceable. So they are unique, and they are not like cryptocurrencies that can be exchanged. So in a sense, those are fungible tokens because you can exchange one cryptocurrency for another. But in the NFT space, every piece of art is unique. So in a sense, you cannot exactly exchange value, but they retain value. NFT is not new. They've been around since 2014. But what we started to see, particularly with the lockdown, many people could not get access to galleries or museums to patronize art. And suddenly, more people started to discover that there are ways they can monetize their assets and then moving their content into NFTs, but they're mostly digital assets. So in Africa, I think that for us, it's an opportunity because a lot of the African art space is still pretty much traditional. So you find that a lot of the works are being sold in traffic or sold on the road. And then there is a big market where African art can have dominance. Currently, on most of the leading platforms, we have less than 2% representation in terms of NFTs from the African market. And I think one of the impacts is because of the access to markets. And what we did was to then look at how we can indigenize a platform that can be able to meet that need. The scale of NFT today is around $174 million, I think, NFT that is sold in the world, that amount. And if you remember, one of the big news that we got was a guy called Beeple. Right, he sold his art for about $69.3 million. But people wasn't he has been in the space, right? And people used to basically, till date, he creates art for every day. What he did was to aggregate 5,000 daily drawings that he has created over time and then auction them on NFT platform. And he called them everydays, the first 5,000 days of his artwork. And it was sold for $69.3 million. So there was a story there. And many people have seen him grow over time to identify that. So there's a big market. NFT is still unfolding. Many Nigerians are still checking and asking questions. So beginning from August, when our platform is fully authenticated, we'll be doing series of workshops to bring people up to speed and getting all the artists to know about it and onboard them.
Wow, that is a serious background. 69 point something million. Wow. All right, so we know that NFTs are broad spectrum, just the way you have explained, and that any form of tangible or valuable assets can be converted to an NFT. Yet it seems like art NFTs have taken the lead in the market space. I mean, we have other forms of expressions. We have music, we have videos, but for some reason, arts have seemed to have taken the lead. So, what do you think is the reason for this?
Well, I think that art is an easier sell than a piece of music, right? First of all, you can always, for the piece of art, every time you resell them, the original creator has a percentage that comes to them based on the smart contract that has been designed.
Okay.
And then with art, you actually have a sense of being able to see and appreciate it. Music, yes, is a sound, but I think that the art is leading the space doesn't mean other genres will not come into the space. I also see a future where we're going to have more and more genres participate in this. I know a lot of the gamers now are looking at possible ways. I mean, one of the products we're working on is a gaming platform called Gimmick. What we intend to do with Gimmick is to see how we can allow indigenous and independent game developers to come on the platform and be able to monetize their assets and reach a bigger market. So these are some of the things we're currently working on that we're looking at.
Wow. Wow. So I mean, can you just explain when you say that when an art is being sold, the original creator gets a percentage? I mean, would that also apply to other forms of expression that enter the space also, like music, videos, maybe games and the rest? Would that also apply to all, or it's only for art?
No, it applies to all. It's basically a smart contract. So the way the smart contract is designed, and which is one of the advantages of blockchain technology, is that everything is traceable. And the smart contract is going to basically instruct how the revenues is disbursed at the end of the day. So the creator of the content, whether you're an artist or music file or it's a game asset, you still get to earn the same thing, right? And that residual royalty is one of the unique features that the NFT space is offering independent content creators. That while you can have your content on digital platforms that you can monetize, over time, or if it's YouTube, you get to earn from it. But this particular one, every time people sell, whatever they buy from you, you never stop owning them. You keep making money.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, at this point, I'm beginning to consider minting my own NFT. So tell us a bit about artistry and how it compares to with other international platforms. I know there are other international platforms which also do the same thing that artistry is doing in the market, where people go and they sell their NFTs. We have international ones like OpenSea and Rarible. Yes, but so is artistry focused basically on indigenous digital arts, or we have listings from other foreign artists?
So I think that for us, what we're basically focused on, first of all, is emerging markets. And that is Africa is part of the emerging market, but there are many other markets where you don't have that representation on the blockchain. Now, if you go to OpenSea and you create an account, you probably will get lost in the sea. There are many content, many artists. So we know that one of the advantages we can have is to give people opportunity to discover and explore unconventional arts from emerging markets. That's where artistry comes in. Our primary focus is to give every artist in Africa an opportunity to participate in the ecosystem. So the difference between artistry and OpenSea is because we have a physical representation here, and we understand the market and the dynamics. So we're working to mitigate the challenges that the artists will face. One, in terms of the cost of uploading, we come with very, very limited. I mean, in OpenSea, there are charges that you have to pay basically to get your art on the platform, and it's huge. So that cost is not necessarily something every young artist can actually afford. We will come with an opportunity for you to get on board with ease without necessarily having to pay those charges. I think that's one of the areas we have been able to provide opportunities for artists to. So the barriers to entry, it's been very, very much mitigated. Then we are planning to run series of workshops, which is our onboarding process as well. So we don't just want people to come on board and open an art. We want to be part of the ecosystem. We want to give you an opportunity to understand how these things are created and understand how people can basically have access to the market. So it's for us an opportunity to do it differently. OpenSea has no essence, no sense of community here, but we want to build a real community online. So we have a Telegram group that is growing, and we basically will be having series of webinars and podcasts there to give them an opportunity. So the idea is that even with artists, we're going to work with them to make thematic digital exhibitions. Those thematic digital exhibitions we intend to push. Most of the artists that we're going to sign on, for some of them that we have a particular kind of relationship or setup with, we intend to do their marketing on the level where we can actually push. But on OpenSea, you do your marketing yourself. But for artistry, the marketing is a co-creation between the company and even every artist. So those are some of the benefits artistry is bringing to the market, to give every African artist a guaranteed opportunity to monetize your art, and more importantly also to ensure that you don't just put your art there, you will constantly begin to grow with us as a community, create more art, reach more markets. But we also call ourselves an international platform. When it comes to content creation, we have an Afrocentric approach. When it comes to reaching the market, we position as an international market.
Wow. So it's an indigenous local brand with an international view.
Yes, I would say in terms of sourcing the arts, we have an indigenous orientation, but when it comes to our positioning, it's an international platform, because most of the buyers actually are also international. So you don't want to lock yourself out of that market. But one of the attractions for us is to say, why you will come on this platform is because you have a possibility of finding talents that you ideally or ordinarily will not find in the other bigger platform.
Okay. Now on to my next question. You know, in the earlier part, you spoke about, which I found very interesting, where a creator sells his art, he can put in a smart contract, if I'm correct, that he earns some kind of revenue upon each preceding or next sale, or not each on each next sale. So my question now is two-pronged. On one side, it's what kind of interest do I now, as a buyer of an NFT, what kind of interest do I acquire where the seller has some kind of remuneration coming to him of if I sell to the next person? So what kind of interest do I as a buyer have of these NFTs?
I think there are many motivations. What we are beginning to see is that NFT is an investment category, or at least an emerging portfolio. So even while you buy from the artist, you're also going to make it profit, because you're not going to sell it at the same amount you bought it for. And when you retain these NFTs, they are going to grow and appreciate in value. Now, the appreciation of the art means that you're also going to make more money. So I don't think that you would bother so much that the original creators are also earning a fraction of what you will be earning. You, of course, in the second round of selling, you're earning more than the original content creator, but they still get something. I mean, that's one of the thinking that helps, because the creator really gets to enjoy a long-term royalty, residual royalty of that. You make money. But also, there are many other incentives why people buy NFT. I've come to realize that for many people, it's also an opportunity for them to have like a bragging right. Now, that might look trivial to us, but that bragging right is something for many people, because you're getting a digital portfolio of assets that most companies are now also looking at. Are we going to build a portfolio of assets around digital art or NFTs, apart from the conventional stuff that you will ideally put money on? Because NFT will appreciate. Just imagine 10 years ago or 5 years ago, when people didn't know much about Bitcoin, and today Bitcoin has appreciated over and over again. And even while many people are still suspicious of whether it's going to be a bubble, others have made tremendous wealth by leveraging on it. So it's about understanding that everything requires a measure of risk. But if Bitcoin perceived to have been a bubble is still around, I'm very certain that NFT will still be very much around. The other benefits of why people buy NFT is the story behind the NFT. I mean, Jack Dorsey sold his first NFT, his first tweet as an NFT. And
yes.
Someone bought that because, again, it was history. A platform, the first tweet today has gone to become a viral platform that is empowering voices across the world. And today we understand that Twitter has dislodged governments, Twitter has been used to drive revolution. So people are buying the sentimental attachment to the idea. They're also buying for the story behind the content. Like people's art of every 5,000 arts, the first 5,000 arts, is also a story of consistency. So when you find the subliminal message behind the art, you're likely to find that it will connect with somebody and you'll be able to buy them. So we use a story-first approach in curating our NFT. We always want to understand not just the concept, not just the art, but the concept behind it. Why is the art, or why was the art created? And I think that is something that has given us a unique positioning in the market, that there is a story behind every art. And that story is why people buy as much as every art.
Wow, that's a very good catchphrase. There's a story behind every art. I mean, it's a good tech that to make anybody want to jump into the market and buy. I mean, there's a story behind every art. Any story that speaks to you. I mean, it's good enough that you purchase such an art. So the second prong of the question is there an empirical way of pricing a work or NFT? I mean, compared to other foreign counterparts, many NFTs have sold for less than 1,000 USD. 1,000 United States dollars, and many have argued that much of these works, or many indigenous works, are grossly undervalued. So my question is there a particular reason why indigenous arts or NFTs are sold less than their counterparts abroad? Which, like for example, you said someone sold one for about 69 million. I mean, we are waiting that kind of huge sale for an indigenous art. So is there a reason why our indigenous arts are not selling that much?
Well, I think that on a level, it is also a factor of the not just the quality of the art, but the popularity of the artist.
Okay.
Many people buy because of the name behind the art. So, for instance, people have built a following for many years, has over millions of followers, creating art daily. So there is a possibility that if 5% of his followers are NFT or are very particular about NFT, they're likely to also be part of that community. So I think that's actually something we also have to keep in mind. Many African artists who are building their portfolio and growing in profile will also find out that as they become more popular with their art, people are going to be buying. So NFT would need a lot of social media traffic to convert. You basically need to have a certain kind of following. Like one of the art directors involved in artistry saw this opportunity too, and he's been very deliberate about creating his art on his social media page. And I've seen people come to ask him, please, where can I buy your art? I want to buy your art. And we're doing a drop of his own art by next day, because there's a sense that he's becoming market ready. So it's not just about creating the art, it's about becoming an artist that is also renowned in your own field. Because for more sophisticated art are sold for less, because they are from artists that are not as popular. So it's the sentiment of the empirical value, or the empiricism of deciding what art will be sold for what is less about the quality of the art, but more about the popularity of the artist. But I really do think that would over time also change, because many people would find the big why. What is the story behind the art? And they want to also buy the why. And that's why we are also working on the why, knowing that a lot of the African artists we're working with are not there yet. So we want to then develop the big story side, and then we take it on from there.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Now, people have often said, people that have been enthusiasts about the NFT space, they have often said that the NFT marketplace is quite complex. I myself, I believe so, because doing some bits here and bit there about research, I found out that the NFT marketplace can be complex. Many creatives barely understand how to navigate the marketplace. Talk of understanding how to mine their work, or the costs and resources required. What is artistry, your company, doing to level these barriers for entry?
So I think, like I mentioned earlier, we have somehow to become competitive in the market. We've actually resolved the cost of setting up an account or mining your NFTs. In our own case, we had very negligible charges. And even at our percentage compared to other OpenSea and Foundation, it's way, way less, because for us, we understand that Africans have to come on the platform. So the idea for us is a game of numbers. If we can aggregate over 100,000 African artists who are selling their art on a daily basis, we're going to get an opportunity to win. And for us, there's a developmental approach to how we're approaching the NFT space. So the cost of mining your NFT is higher on OpenSea, higher on Foundation, and there are no guarantees you will sell. So you're likely to be spending money and not knowing where you're going to recoup your money back. And we've done that as much. And like I said, our own opportunities approaching the NFT space less as a platform, but more as a community. So we can actually, more importantly, co-create this with our artists, give them an opportunity to get some direction of where the market is going. We do presentations from time to time now where we're going to tell them these are the arts that are selling because we work with data. We're constantly punching data, x-raying the data, what is behind the numbers, so we can guide. OpenSea is not as vested in an African artist as we are as vested. We see them and we see ourselves as a partner to every artist, to come alongside them, guiding them, holding their hands, to lead them to explore this new revenue and help them unlock the possibilities and opportunities that the NFT space has to offer.
So I mean, in essence, what you're saying that if I want to get into the NFT market, I have a better chance with artistry than OpenSea.
Definitely, very, very, very much so. Like I said, I think that for us, we're even expanding. Artistry is an ecosystem of products. So NFT is just one of the things we have. You know, we apart from artistry, we also have a portal called Magical, where you can actually, if you're a content creator, you have videos, you can actually curate your videos on Magical, and people can actually work with you to support you, to raise money to fund your production. And as people watch those videos, they're going to make money. So for us, it's actually using the blockchain to power creative economy. It's less about just the NFT. Whether it comes to photography, we have something for photographers. Whether it comes to entertainers, we have something for every entertainer, every content creator. Whether it comes to raising funds, giving them access to markets, we come with all of them. So on NFT, most NFT platforms are monolithic in their market approach. They're just mono markets. But for artistry is an integrated market where you find assets to raise funds. When we launch the platform Incubate, we're going to get access to funding. We also will have a platform called Gaming. So apart from actually selling your gaming asset, you can actually monetize on your game when people play your games, right? We also have one called Topia. Topia is the place where you can actually get access to interesting content that can give you the skill you need, the 21st century skills you need to create and to expand on it. So we are very, very deliberate about scaling, deliberately scaling across these verticals, and not just about curating NFTs and making money on that.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's talk quickly about a secondary market for NFTs. Now, how liquid would you say, or let me say fungible, no pun intended, are NFTs compared to other digital assets such as cryptocurrencies? I mean, every day we have new forms of cryptocurrencies, which the market's volatile, goes up, comes down, and the rest. But we have NFTs on one side. So, I mean, the secondary markets. In your opinion, how would you say NFTs are doing compared, or will do also compared to other forms of digital assets?
I think it might be a bit too early to say, because the secondary market is just something that has been growing. But if I speak from the point of observation relative to the growth of cryptocurrency, I think they are very powerful. Cryptocurrencies, most of the initial cryptocurrency, the primary market, it took a while before the secondary market started to kick in. The secondary market for NFTs are kicking in, but a lot of the people who are buying NFTs are using a buy and wait approach, because it's not just about trading NFT for immediacy to monetize it. It's actually, like I said, there's the bragging rights. There's a fact of retaining the value of the NFT as the market grows. So most people are doing that for portfolio growth and not just about liquidity. But in terms of the size of the liquidity, it's not anywhere near cryptocurrencies, because with cryptocurrency, you have many altcoins. But again, the volatility of cryptocurrency is also a factor that away from you on the level and impactable on NFTs. Because since there has been a dip in the market, even NFT2 has also suffered contraction in size of its market. So it's very related. But like I said, the secondary market is not as big as the cryptocurrency as we speak, but it's also a fast-growing market. And many people who are buying are not just buying for liquidity, but they're buying to develop, to grow assets and monetize in future time.
So, I mean, we are looking at an NFT market that will to the moon, if I can borrow that cryptocurrency term.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So just a quick to chip in a very quick one. This is a new market. You say it has been in existence since as far back as 2014.
2014. Yes.
Okay, so my question do you feel, in your opinion, or also that there should be some form of regulatory body overseeing the NFT marketplace? I mean, as a form of security for both the sellers and the buyers on both ends. Do you feel like there should be some form of regulation in the marketplace for security?
I think that cryptocurrency comes with its own inbuilt regulatory mechanism that allows for platforms to be verifiable. The smart contract have instructions to protect certain things. So the inherent benefit of cryptocurrency is the nature of its decentralization and democratization. So, when it comes to regulation is a local play than an international cryptocurrency approach, right? So I think in every community, right, there is an attempt to figure out how regulations can work. But I would recommend that at different points in time, it should be regulations that will be developed from conversations, whether it is locally SEC. I mean, we've had conversations with people from SEC talking about the NFT space and trying to understand it. I mean, some of them have approached us. The CBN too is further line looking at what can be done. But what I would always advise, like I would say, is regulations should not be about killing the industry. It should be about empowering our people to participate more in this space. So what nature of regulation, I don't know. But any regulation that can increase trust and protect the investors or people that will come on the platform, it's welcome. Currently, there are cases around verifying art so that it is not plagiarized or it's not stolen art. I think that every platform, even in our own case, we're having to authenticate with some mechanism. That's a measure of regulation that we are putting in there. But for regulatory agencies, it's still pretty much something that they need to take time to understand and understand what right moves they can make. But like I said, we shouldn't worry too badly about whether regulations are that much needed, because there is a measure of regulation that cryptocurrency by its design offers the market.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. It's almost as if I personally needed that. So finally, what is the playbook for African creatives, and how can they ride the tide to get access and recognition on this global stage?
Well, I think the playbook is what we have embodied in what we're working on artistry. The playbook is that they can't go it all alone. They always need alongside a platform that can understand the uniqueness of the African arts market, the challenges of the market in Nigeria, the peculiarities around the market. When you talk about access to data, when you talk about access to digital tools with which they can create. So here in our company, we have a digital lab, an NFT lab. And having the NFT lab means that artists can actually come around from time to time. And then they would have the tools with which they can also start developing, mining, and tokenizing the platform right from here. But again, you have to apply to the fellowship to be able to participate in that kind of stuff. So we're going to open it further down the line. We're still putting the processes in place. But what I would say is the playbook again is look for a platform that will be a partner. Look for a platform that can give you the insights, the data you need, the guidance you need. Be able to not just create your art, guarantee a measure of conversion. And that is at that point. So what we're doing with our own approach to market. It's really not necessarily a hard and fast rule. But again, that's what I would say with respect to that.
Thank you so much for making the time to join us again today, Mr. Ferdinand. This has been minutes of gaining insights on NFTs and the benefits of the marketplace to African creatives. So our wonderful audience, the conversation continues on our social media handles. Do remember to send us your comments and thoughts on today's topic. So thank you for listening to this episode of Simply by DLHQ. DLHQ Partners is an African-focused transaction advisory law firm operating out of Lagos, Nigeria. To know more about our services, please visit our website www.dlhqpartners.com or follow us on our social media handles. On Twitter, we are at DLHQ Law. On Instagram, we are at DLHQ Law. On Facebook, we are at DLHQ Law. On LinkedIn, we are at DLHQ Partners. Thank you for joining us once again. Have a wonderful day.